we all knew that, number one, we didn't love, I'm going to be nice, we didn't love the environment we were in. And number two, it's not fun when you walk into a room and you're like universally hated all the time, right? That's just kind of, I think, a human thing. And so as an ER doctor, you walk into the room and when someone is waiting for 6 hours to see you, it's just a tough uphill battle. And I'm kind of an optimist by nature, and I'll admit I like being liked a little bit. You walk in, you could juggle, you could do whatever you want, but people are just fundamentally upset at the situation. So we all experienced that as ER doctors, and yeah, that kind of it wasn't pleasant. So we came out of the environment, kind of all different angles, 8 very different people, but trained together, knew each other, realizing that the service that the patients were getting in the hospital, there was an opportunity there to kind of change it. We weren't sure exactly what, but we knew there had to be a better way. And we also really appreciated the fact that we weren't able to practice medicine in our minds, at least in my mind. I wasn't able to practice medicine to the full extent. I went to, after 12 years of training, you kind of get out and you're really excited to practice medicine. And that was actually the biggest challenge in my mind, that 80% of my time was not spent doing that. And I often, joke, I tell the story when I kind of realized it, it kind of clicked, and I think, Frank has heard this version of it, or a few people have, but, I was literally in an emergency department covering, so it wasn't my hospital. It never was my hospital, but it wasn't the hospital I primarily worked at. But so I'm covering a shift, and it's an overnight shift, which they tell you you're going to get 3 overnight shifts. You end up like doing 20, but and so I go into the bathroom, and I literally call my wife, who, if you knew my wife, would make a lot more sense, right? She's like Sicilian Italian, and I call her, and I'm like, yeah, I'm quitting my job tonight, and she goes, like 2 sentences. The first I can't repeat, but the second sentence was yeah, no, you're not, and finish your shift. And then she just hangs up. So I was like, all right, cool, that's good advice. It was solid. I kind of translated it in the middle. I was like, yeah, that's smart. Finish the shift. Mm-hmm. That's kind of all I heard. So I finished my shift. I ended up quitting that week, 2 weeks later. So after we didn't have kids, and she had like a job, which was good. So I did. I quit, and then I had to figure out what I wanted to do. But those were the initial things. Like, where I was working was the issue. I didn't feel like I could connect to patients as a doctor, and it didn't make sense to me. The structure we were in terms of delivering care wasn't optimized.